The time has come to rip this show to pieces. Oh, I am looking forward to this. I'm so fucking excited to do this. Okay, this show, Earthrise, Netflix Earthrise, this show is god-awful. This is honestly maybe one of the worst pieces of Transformers media ever. This might be on par with Age of Extinction and The Last Night. Nearly every choice that this show made, honestly, it baffles me. It baffles me to no end. It infuriated me. It made me. I could not stand it. I could not stand this show. I watched the whole thing. I was excited for it. The trailer had me excited. I thought it looked okay. I thought it looked pretty good. I woke up really early in the morning to watch it. Actually, I had a hard time finding it because of, for the same reason a lot of people had a hard time finding it, where it wasn't really put with Siege. It was a separate thing on Netflix. So there was that. And I finally got watching it, and let's go into this. We're going to go through this episode by episode because I'm pretty sure I remember what happens in episode. I didn't rewatch this. I will never rewatch this show. But we're going to go episode by episode, and we're going to get the one good episode out of the way right now. The first episode of this show was the only episode of this show that I actually thought was pretty good. It's not great or anything, but there was some solid ideas in the first episode. So let's get it out of the way so I can rip this thing to pieces. So the first episode, this episode was honestly cool. There was some cool ideas in here. The idea that the Decepticons are running out of energon, they're trying to build the Nemesis. So in order to go with it, they start shutting down their outposts and they start harvesting sparks from their troops. Like, this made me think that the Decepticons, yeah, these are the bad guys. I don't want to be rooting for these guys like they kind of did a bad job of doing in Siege. This is bad. Like, Megatron is literally taking his smaller, reflector dudes and harvesting their sparks in order to fuel the Nemesis. And he does this, living actual bots. He kills hundreds of them to harvest their spark and energon to complete the Nemesis, this was a cool idea. This was clever. And the fact that there was the Autobot team that was left over from Siege that were going around and trying to save these guys that were, converting Decepticons to Autobots. This was good. This was off to a good start. Unfortunately, this does not stick. That's the basics, what I remember from this first episode. There's some pretty dumb moments in this first episode as well. I think this might have been the episode where Megatron talks to the severed head of Ultra Magnus, or that might have been in a different episode. I don't know. I don't care. That was kind of a clever idea. Megatron is kind of complex. He's trying to figure out what's the next step here. Optimus has kind of destroyed my planet. How do I get over this? Talking to a severed head, that sounds like something Megatron would do in this situation. So that, again, clever ideas, things that actually do kind of make sense. These actually were a thing in the first episode of this show. But my God, every episode after this first one, even episode 5, we're going to talk about it. I know everybody liked that episode. Spoiler alert, I did not like that episode. Let's get into this. Episode 2, probably the worst episode of the show. Oh dear God, what they did with the Quintesson Judge in this show. Probably the most infuriating thing I have ever seen in Transformers media ever. Maybe more infuriating than the shit that Age of Extinction pulled. The garbage that Age of Extinction pulled is on par with what they do with the Quintesson Judge in this show. It is abhorrent. It is an awful idea. It does not work whatsoever. And it's so infuriating too because they actually have good setup. The Autobots go in here, the Quintesson Judge is there. It's cool. He's spinning around, he's doing his Quintesson Judge thing. The faces are spinning. The voice acting seems okay for once. He got 5 different voices for the Quintesson Judge. And he's up there, he's got all the drones. By the way, I went to Walmart the other day and I actually found the Quintesson drone guy, which is pretty cool. I guess they restocked Netflix Wave 3, which is pretty cool. He's fun. I like him. I do like this figure. I'm glad I picked him up. But yeah, they have these guys, 30 bajillion of these guys, spread out, and it actually looks like it's gonna be cool. This looks like it might be a good villain. I was my hopes were so high. Because the first episode was good, and then you get to this episode, and this was so good. The introduction of the Quintesson, when it was actually doing the Quintesson thing. But what happens next? Once again, I'm not holding back on spoilers here. If you haven't watched this show, you're probably not going to watch this show. And if you haven't, do yourself a favor and don't watch it. Just this idea. Oh my God. Basically what happens is the Quintesson Judge, one face, this motherfucking face right here. This one right here. What was his name? Odysseus or something like that, or Decius or something fucking stupid as shit. This face, they take him into the back, the dark thing, and it was all cool. It was kind of cool. I was like, ooh, what's going on here? It was like the lighting was all dark, and you kind of hear like screaming and shit. Like I thought the Quintesson Judge was like back there torturing someone or something. But you know what actually is happening? This face cuts off every single one of the faces of the Quintesson Judge. Yeah, you heard that right. That face literally takes every single one of the Quintesson Judge's faces out of the question. And at this point, what was the fucking point? This character, the only thing about this character, the reason this character, the entire thing about this character is that he's 5 faces. 5 personalities. What is the fucking point of getting rid of every single one of those faces? Just have a different villain with one face. That is the dumbest, most infuriating idea I have ever seen. And it's the Quintesson Judge! For fuck's sake, this is a villain who's rarely ever represented in the media in a good way. He was basically, the only time he was ever done right was the freaking 1986 movie. They tried it, Energon. Pretty epic fail there. And then, what else? Oh, there was Cyberverse. Cyberverse did the Quintesson Judge good. Cyberverse did the Quintesson Judge great, actually. That was scary. That was cool. But then this fucking thing. Oh, don't even get me started on the last night. Do not get me started on the last night. But this fucking thing comes wrong. And it was so set up so well. That scene was so cool where you walk in and the faces are changing and he's doing the Quintesson Judge thing. And then this shit happens. And we get the most annoying face. The voice of this face might have been the worst one ever. The design is terrible. Everything about this twist with the Quintesson Judge is retarded. It makes no fucking sense whatsoever. I have been holding that in for so long. You have no idea. Oh my god, I hated this twist so much. It infuriated me, man. And then the mercenaries. Oh my god, let's talk about the fucking mercenaries. The mercenaries were built up to be so cool. You had Double Dealer, Exhaust, who I actually have coming pretty soon. I'm really excited about it because he looks super cool. And then you have Bugbite, who I'm hoping to maybe get at some point. These guys, they were cool. They had the cone heads as well. These guys were kind of cool. You know, they were setting it up to be another villain. Like, this show had the seeds. It had the seeds for a good Transformers show. And these mercenaries, nothing fucking happens with them. They take the Autobots to Decius, or whatever the fuck his name is. They show up. They have probably 2 seconds of screen time, all of them together. And then you never see them again until the very end of the episode, where they are showed up. Pretty much all of them die immediately. Like, what the actual fuck? The most wasted fucking plot line I've ever seen in my life. None of them are characters either. Double Dealer probably has like 2 lines of dialogue, and he's not like, Double Dealer's supposed to be cool. He's supposed to be like a bounty hunter, like Lockdown. He's supposed to be looking for people, looking for Autobots, and like showing them up and like, you know, taking jobs from both sides. That was his entire thing. But what does he do? He leaves the Autobots in here. There's nothing clever. He does nothing Double Dealer. There's nothing about this version of Double Dealer that screams that he is Double Dealer. He's just a fucking moron who falls for the stupid Quintesson Judge fucking dumbass plot, and he dies. Oh god, what the hell were they thinking? Ugh. That was episode 2, basically, although the mercenaries don't die until the final episode. So that was episode 2. Once again, probably the worst episode of the show. Like, it doesn't get better or anything, but this episode infuriated me. While I was watching this episode, I was actually getting angry. Physically angry, as you can tell from what I'm doing right now. Okay, let's move on. What even happens in episode 3? Episode 3, I'm pretty sure, is when we get to Optimus Prime. He's floating in space. He's kind of stuck there, and there's like the space bridge. And another cool idea here. I just remembered this. Another cool idea, having the space bridge that had like, it was like, I forget what it was, but there was something in the space bridge that was like halfway through and halfway not through. And that was a clever idea, and they kind of had to work around it. They went into that actual ship, and they went through, and there was like different things, and like looked out the window, and there was like some kind of like, it was like, it looked like an actual ecosystem or something. Like, it was so weird, and they didn't really do anything with it. It just kind of, they show up, they kind of show that, and then they went back, and then Scorponok shows up. And now let's talk about Scorponok. Yet another absolutely pointless fucking plot that goes nowhere. Scorponok shows up, and he's like, I'm gonna kill everybody, Decepticons, Autobots, I don't care, I'm not on any side. and he starts fucking destroying him. And for like 2 straight episodes, they're fighting Scorponok, and then I can't even like bring this up without thinking about the perspective end joke that he made up, where it was literally just like they fight him for like 2 straight episodes. He is like a boss fight, and he doesn't kill anybody. And like oh my god, one thing I totally forgot to mention in the Siege one. The Transformers just never transform in this fucking show. It's so infuriating. And this in particular, like, Scorponok is literally laying waste. He doesn't kill anybody, obviously, but he's, like, laying waste to the Autobots and Decepticons. And they're, like, running, and Bumblebee is, like, running towards the door, and, like, just transform! You have, like, you have the ability to do the one thing that could help you out in this situation. Transform, drive, go. And he doesn't. He gets shot, like, 50 times by Scorponok, too, and nothing happened. Nothing phases him. And then later in the show, they, like, show a freaking Autobot take, like, 1 bullet, and there's a huge fucking hole in his torso. Like, nothing makes any sense in this show whatsoever. And, oh, Jesus Christ, it's so awful. And then, oh my god, we haven't even talked about Optimus Prime yet. I've been sitting here screaming in my room. We haven't even talked about Optimus Prime yet. This Optimus Prime is the biggest fucking dumbass I have ever seen in my life. Oh dear god. I think it was episode 4 when this happened. I could be wrong once again. I don't give a shit. I think it was episode 4 though, where Optimus Prime, he has Megatron beat. He has won. Megatron is there dying right there in front of him. He has a freaking stake through his heart. And what does Optimus Prime do? He saves him. And you might be thinking, okay, Optimus Prime, this is a perfectly Optimus Prime thing to do. Yeah, he saves Megatron. Yeah, cool. But this Optimus Prime, he is not the Optimus Prime. He just isn't. He doesn't have any of the valor or anything going on that makes him Optimus Prime. And this isn't a stepping stone either, because the second, literally the second Megatron, he saves Megatron, Megatron gets up and attacks him. Of fucking course he does. And does he learn? No, he doesn't fucking learn. He gets like 3 more opportunities throughout the rest of the show to off Megatron, to beat him. He beats him like 3 separate times. And every single time, he lets Megatron escape. He saves him or he lets him go. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely absurd. This Optimus Prime is the biggest dumbass I have ever seen in my entire fucking life. Oh my god. And there's even that one scene, I think it was in the final episode too. You know what, we'll talk about that when we get to the final episode. Let's finish off with episode 4 here. So that was about the gist of it, and they're fighting Scorponok, and they say the name. It's like, Martha, my name's Martha. Like, once again, I can't not bring up the perspective end joke there, but seriously, and he just stopped. He just fucking stopped. Suddenly Scorponok's not a problem anymore. What the fuck? Oh god. Okay, so we're through episode 4. Now we have to talk about episode 5. I know a lot of people like this episode, and honestly, I have no idea why. I don't understand anything about this episode that would be likable. So episode 5, we get Skylynx. He wants to be the next Prime. He wants the Matrix from Alpha Trion, and Alpha Trion banishes him to the dead universe, and you have all this. So what's my problem with this episode? Fucking everything. This Skylynx sucks. He is so dumb. The voice is awful. Oh my god, he sounds so generic and not like Skylynx whatsoever. He doesn't have any of the characteristics of Skylynx from G1. And here's a major problem with Skylynx. Skylynx is so obviously just a space shuttle with an extended neck. Nothing more, nothing less. He even has NASA on the side. And I guarantee you, I didn't obviously look into this, but I guarantee you, the designers were not lazy enough to take that off. So we're living in this timeline where freaking the Beast Wars are going down. It's the prehistoric and humans aren't even a thing yet. But somehow Skylynx shows up and he's a freaking space shuttle. So clearly a space shuttle. And then he wants the Matrix. Quick question here, Skylynx. How the fuck could you even hold the Matrix? You don't have hands. What is the point of giving the Matrix to something like, what was the thought process there? Like, if you're gonna have the next Prime be someone, why on earth would it be someone who probably couldn't even hold the damn Matrix? Hey, give me the Matrix, bitch! Okay, here you go. Oh, that was easy. We may have a problem here. Yeah, what's the thought process here, man? How you gonna take the Matrix? You can't even hold it. Give me a second here. Hang on. I got it. Alright. Right. I dropped it. Yeah, I don't think this is gonna work, man. I'm so sorry about that. Oh god. It just makes no sense. Like, why on earth would Skylynx be the next Prime? It makes no physical sense whatsoever. There's not even a way for him to hold the damn Matrix. And there's no reason for him to even exist because he's a space shuttle. He's so clearly a space shuttle and makes no sense. And also, why is this show even called Earthrise? They don't even show up to Earth until the final episode, and there's not one Earth vehicle aside from Skylynx. He's like, whatever. And then what else happens in this stupid fucking episode? Oh, they go to the dead universe, and then Galvatron shows up. He does this epic intro, which was kind of cool, I guess, and nothing fucking comes of it. Nothing comes of it. Nemesis Prime shows up for like half a second. Optimus is like, oh, I'm looking into my inner demons. I'm so edgy. I want my Black Veil Brides in Linkin Park. No hate towards Linkin Park. And he sees like Nemesis, and he's like, it's the exact shot from the trailer. That one shot from the Earthrise trailer of Nemesis Prime, that is the only screen time that Nemesis Prime has in the show. Yeah, dead serious. And nothing comes of it. Nothing comes of it. They go through this dead universe and they kind of get out of it, and fucking Skylynx sacrifices his life, and nothing comes out of it. Optimus doesn't learn anything from this. He's supposed to be, like, this episode is supposed to be there for Optimus Prime to kind of become, I guess they're trying to make him become the Optimus Prime that we know and love, like the heroic leader, instead of this dumbass coward that we have before. And nothing happens. He doesn't learn anything. He immediately goes in, we go into the final episode, episode 6, we go into the final episode. Optimus Prime, once again, he beats Megatron. He has Megatron done. He's got it. He's won. He's like, forgive me. You must forgive me. Tell me you forgive me. And I'm just sitting here like, and then fucking Cog shows up, and he's like, Optimus, what are you doing? You can't kill him. And he's like looking over, and he's got, once again, he has Megatron beat. And he's like there was the episode 4 when he literally let him go, and Megatron immediately attacks him, immediately stabs him in the back. And he has this opportunity. He has Megatron beat. He's got a gun pointed at Megatron, and he has it. He's asking for forgiveness for some fucking retarded ass reason, probably because it's this version of Optimus Prime. And he doesn't do it. He once again lets him escape. It's absolutely ridiculous. It makes no sense. And to make matters worse in this final episode, they bring back the fucking Quintesson Judge. He does nothing. He does absolutely nothing. He shows up. He's taken over the mercenaries. He's got like fucking Double Dealer and this like ventriloquist dummy shit. And it's so dumb. It's just insulting to Double Dealer's character. And he does nothing. He immediately gets fucking wrecked. I think Cog kills him even, if I remember correctly. I think Cog like boards his ship and fucking kills him. Like, what the hell? You're gonna give Cog that freaking honor? Oh dear God, nothing about this show after the first episode is good in any way, shape, or form. This show just sucks. Oh, I can't even think. What else? Is that all? Is that all? Am I done? Am I fucking done? Can I finally stop? Yeah, I think I can. There's the final shot where they get to Earth and it's Dinobot and he's looking at him, and that was kind of cool, I guess, but whatever, dude. I'm fucking done with this. I hated this show. I cannot stress that enough. I hated this show. The first episode was good. It had some decent ideas, but everything that came out after that, every idea, every thought process that was made in this show makes just no fucking sense to me whatsoever. None of it had any impact. None of it was clever. None of it was good. The Quintesson was absolutely insulting. Skylynx was god-awful. Scorponok was terrible. It's just bad. It's terrible. And they really have their work cut out for them if they want Kingdom to not be this level. They really need to make Kingdom better if they want this show to be memorable at all. Because Siege wasn't memorable at all, and this show is memorable, but it's memorable in the suckish way. Alright, I think I'm finally done. Thank you all so much for watching this video. Let me know in the comments down below, what's your thoughts on Earthrise? I know a lot of people actually do like this show a lot more than Siege, so whatever, leave your thoughts. I don't care. I'm tired. I'm out of breath. I need a drink. Alright, thanks for watching. DK Guillotine signing out.